Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Happy Friday. Hello, Choco Dog, Country Keepsakes, the Hummingbird, Lucky Pammy. I know I'm not getting everybody. You guys are coming in so fast. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, the Woven Basket and Ashley and Kimmy. I hope you guys are having a great day. It is the end of the week. It has been a very long week for us. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of update, which I'll do at the beginning of the shows for a while now for the next few weeks. But some of you know, and please do not take this as like pity or whatever. This is just an easy way for me to update a lot of people that care about my husband. So a lot of you know that my husband has been battling stage 4 cancer and that he was going in for a stem cell transplant. So he actually went in, got admitted to the hospital yesterday for the transplant. So it wasn't like emergency. It was all planned. He is there now. He is modding though. So he's in there if you want to say hello, or maybe he can say hello. But he is there modding. He is starting today, is going to be going under 6 days of massive chemo to try to kill all them cancer cells in his body. And then we'll be looking at having his transplant next week. So far, so good. He's doing wonderful. He's in good spirits. Unfortunately, because the hospital is an hour and a half from our home, I do not get to go and see him as much as I would like because I still have a full-time job and still trying to do our side hustle. So, but just to give an update for those of you who are interested. All right. Today I want to talk about analytics. How many here look at your analytics on a regular basis? Just a quick yes, like emoji or whatever in the chat. No one. Nobody looks at their analytics. Either that or I'm just missing it. Oh, maybe I'm missing it. Here, let me click this little arrow. There we go. A lot of people. Okay, if a lot of people do, nope, that's all right. Well, you're in the right place today. At least I hope you are. They confuse you, not as much. Okay, so what I want to talk about, well, good morning, Natural State of High. I didn't see you come in. Good morning, Southern Charm. So what I want to talk about is, we all know where to find them. But let's look at what information they give you, what's important about that information, what can you use that to judge or monitor or make decisions from, and then how could some of those metrics that they give you work with each other? Like how do you use buyer count and average sales? If you're looking at both of those numbers, how can you use them together to make a decision? One of the big things I want to touch on why this was so important to me, besides being an accountant, a CPA, and loving numbers and analytics and all of that stuff. So besides that, why this is important is that you can't make really good decisions about your business, at least your financial and operational performance. Analytics are not just all finances. They include some financial numbers, but they really talk about your operations. And you can't make very good, educated decisions about the operations of your business without understanding what it's been doing. This is the roadmap, or this is where you've been. It's just like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Maybe this isn't the best analogy, but it's like when you go to therapy for something. They don't just start there on day one and say, okay, what do you want to do tomorrow? It's like, okay, what's happened in the past? What happened, in your childhood or in your marriage or whatever. You need to understand where you've been in order to know where you're going. And that's what the analytics are. And they're definitely not like an afterthought, like, okay, I'm going to get in business. I'm going to go and do this. Oh yeah, there's some analytics. I guess I better look at them. Probably not. This should be a regular part of what you're doing, a part of your routine, whether it's by show, by week, by month. But whenever you normally would sit down to analyze your business, this should be part of it. So you love your therapist. Yeah. A lot of people will go by a feeling. And analytics are far from a feeling. That's probably why I like them, because I am not the most touchy-feely person. I am more like data-driven. So a lot of us, though, a lot of people will tend to be like, oh, my bank account's growing. I can take a withdrawal. I can pull funds out. I can do a show and put money in my bank account. Every time I do a show or once a week, there's always money there for me to pull from. And so you look at that and you're like, oh, as long as there's money there and whatnot, I must be doing great because I can keep, padding my bank account, right? Southern Charm, she has to know her numbers. And some of it is just your personality type. I fully admit, you probably did not start Whatnot because you like analytics. You started it because you love selling clothes or sports cards or vintage or whatever it is. But we can't go off feelings. And that's, I think, part of the point I'm going to talk about at the very beginning and the very end again, is that we can't, good morning, reptile guy. You can't go off the feeling. Just because you have money coming out, that's cash flow. That just means you're pulling money out, money's in your bank account. Doesn't mean you're making money. Doesn't mean that you're operating in the most efficient or best way. And what do we want to do? We want to maximize our time, right? We want to maximize using our time for the most efficient and best use of that time. I don't want to do a 2-hour show and sell 4 things. I want to do a 2-hour show and sell out. So how do I do that? What am I doing to encourage that? And that's the type of information you can get from your analytics. So let's jump into it. I know probably if you're a seller here, you know where to find them, but I'm just going to start at the very top. You go to your Sellers Hub on the computer. Now you can do it on the phone. I never use my phone, so I'm speaking solely from using it from a computer because I couldn't tell you how to do it on your phone. So on your computer, you go to your Sellers Hub. On the left-hand side of the screen, there's a little icon that looks like a chart kind of going up. That's your Analytics tab. You click there. When you click there, you're so welcome. When you click on your, oh, hold on real quick, sorry. Let me do a giveaway. I always forget the giveaways. All right, we're gonna do Halloween postcards since it's that time of year. I guess I can write it here. All right, so once you get to the Seller Hub, you click on your analytics. There are 3 tabs along the top of that analytics screen. And I actually put screenshots here. I was gonna try to show you on mine, but honestly, I feel that the numbers are personal, the numbers are private, and you're under no obligation to share those numbers with anybody. So I'm gonna kind of talk through in general concepts here, and I think that that's good enough. 3 tabs when you get into your analytics. You have an overall tab, a live stream tab, and a promote tools. Thank you for your purchase from the bin. Y'all, I do have PDFs and I have some holiday kind of seasonal stuff in the bin today. I am not going to talk about the promote tools because I don't promote. I don't do Whatnot promote tools. I would not be able to speak in any educated manner on that. So I am going to focus on overall and live stream. So your overall tab, I went through and I got listed here every single thing that you can get from the overall tab. And then I also put in what is the Whatnot definition. So we're going to understand how Whatnot calculates it and then what you can do with it. So we're just going to kind of go through little by little. Please, if you have questions, always more than happy to answer them. And I can stop at any point to try to address a question. So one of the first things you're going to see is estimated sales. So Whatnot says estimated sales are the final purchase price of your completed orders after generated coupons. So it's not gross revenue, it's gross less coupons. And that's important to keep in mind because your coupons are actually an expense to you. So that number, if you're just going by that number and accumulating that for your accounting records, will be off at the end of the year when you compare it to your 1099. So that's just kind of a side note. So it's the final price of all of your sales from that time period, and I'm going to backtrack, after coupons. Now, what's one of the great things about this, analytics and the way they've set it up, I'm not a huge fan of Whatnot's like accounting features, but I think they did a pretty decent job on their analytics for us. Doesn't give us everything, but it gives us pretty good information. And when you're in that overall tab, the very, very top of that screen, you can adjust the dates. So you can look at this for the past week, the past month, the quarter, the year. So you can really analyze this in any way you want to look at it. I frequently will look at it for the last month because I'm one to compare month over month. That's what works for me. But maybe you're just starting and you're like, nope, I'm going to really focus in and I'm going to compare week to week to week, because as we get through, you'll see some of the drivers and things that you can look at, and you might want to look at it more frequently to make changes a little bit faster in your business. So any of this information I'm going through right now can be filtered by date just using the little drop down at the top of the overall screen. So estimated sales, we know what those are. So Just remember that this number does not include, this is the high number. It doesn't include shipping, taxes, anything like non-order revenue, doesn't include tips. Okay. So it's estimated sales just based off what people bought, less coupons. Then you can also see estimated earnings. So this number per whatnot represents your completed orders minus all of those fees and costs, such as the commissions, the processing fees, seller paid shipping. So you have estimated sales, kind of high level, takes into account coupons, and then you have estimated earnings, and that takes into account everything else that you're paying for, that whatnot's pulling out before you're allowed to get that money, right? So what can you do with those numbers? Why are those numbers important? I have like no space here. I've got stuff everywhere. You can calculate the fees and expenses for every dollar you make. So if I take my estimated earnings and I divide it by my estimated sales, that's going to give me that percentage of what whatnot's keeping out of my money, right? Or out of what I'm selling. That we all know whatnot takes 8.3% and then 2.9 off the top of my head. But those are based on different amounts. The 2.9 includes taxes, shipping, and they vary too by category. Well, here, if you're looking at your estimated earnings and estimated sales, you can get that as a percentage. Again, that formula is taking your estimated earnings and you divide that by your estimated sales. You can get to the percent of what those fees are. The next step, who's winning that gift card, or not gift card, postcard? Nick, Jack, congratulations. Thanks for being in the show today. I appreciate it. Let me start another one before I forget. This one is a bird postcard. That's what's coming up next, is a bird postcard. All right. You can take that a step further. That is for winning the giveaway, y'all. You know my husband normally does, side note, my husband normally does all the graphics. I have the controls, I have the graphic, I have all the power now, but I forget to use them. So he's over here telling me, reminding me to use them. I'll get better over the course of the month. All right, you could take that a one step further, that formula, and put in and calculate out your cost of goods sold, and then you get your operating profit by show or by month or by week. How cool is that? Not only do you have your gross revenue, you know what percent represented your fees, you could take out your cost of goods, and now you know your operating profit. I do have the power. Yep, that's right. Let's see here. Look at that. It didn't work. Okay, he's fired. He is, oh, there it goes. I cut it off too fast. All right. Those numbers are powerful. Why do you want to get to your operating profit? You want to get to your operating profit because that's that final number. That's that sales number before all those other expenses, before your cell phone, before your Vendoo or your subscriptions, before your shipping supplies. Your operating profit is that number before you take out all those expenses. You need to know where that is. I mean, that's a good indicator. How much do I need to make? If you know, and you should know, you probably have a roundabout figure in your head. I pay for every single month. I pay QuickBooks, Vendoo, Spotify. I spend X number on shipping supplies. I usually spend X amount of dollars on Amazon for miscellaneous things that, labels or whatever. You have a general idea what your business expenses are each month, right? Well, your operating profit should be higher than those business expenses. If it's not, you're not making money. I don't care if you're pulling money. It could look like you're making money because you're pulling money out of whatnot, but it's being siphoned out in different timing than what it's coming in. So you never fully grasp that you're not making money if you're not looking at it in that manner. All right. So let's go over that formula just one more time. Is you can take your estimated sales and your estimated earnings. Okay. Take the estimated earnings, divide it by the estimated sales, then subtract your cost of goods, and you're going to get your operating profit. Okay. Now, if easy way to keep your cost of goods, this is how I do it. You don't have to do it this way. If anybody, feel free if you have an easier way to throw that in the chat, because I think the more we share best practices with each other, the more we kind of build each other up and help learn things. When something comes into my inventory, I buy stuff at auction, I buy stuff at a thrift store, an estate sale, whatever it may be. When it comes in, I put a little color-coded tag. I have them right here. They're stuck. I have all these little color-coded tags. That represents the price I paid. I stick that little color-coded sticker on the bottom of that item. When I then sell it in a show, I can easily, as I'm packing, look at that item and know exactly what I paid for it, keep a little log going on, and I know what my cost of goods for that show was. So once I know it for the show, it goes into a spreadsheet. Now I know it for the week, the month, the year. Okay. Awesome, Southern Charm. So that's how you get your operating profit. All right, next we're going to go to, what else does your analytics show you? They show you the order count. Whatnot says the order count is the number of unique transactions paid for by your buyers, excluding giveaways. For example, if a buyer wins 2 auctions in one of your shows, it counts as 2 orders. Okay, we probably already figured that out ourselves, but that is the Whatnot definition of what that metric shows you, is order count. So if how many orders you were processing in a certain period of time is a metric that you're used to, that you want to measure, this comes into play a lot for the liquidating type sellers. So people who want to move real fast and they have a goal of getting through 100 items per hour, this is something they're going to look at, right? This is one of those metrics that they're going to use. I want to take a step back here and say, all of this information is useful. But if you go into this after every show or every week, each transaction, exactly. If you try to look at every single metric that Whatnot has to offer you all the time and make sense of all of them at once, it's going to become overwhelming. These metrics, and I'm going to call them, Kimmy, congratulations. You won that giveaway for a bird postcard. We'll start another one in just a second. It's that time of year, y'all. It's like all the pollen and whatever else. What you really should be doing is figuring out what's important to you. What do you really want to focus on for your business? Is it increasing sales, increasing your average order value, increasing your new buyers? Pick 2 or 3. In business, we call them KPIs, key performance indicators. I'm just going to say metrics here for ease. Pick 2 or 3 metrics to focus on at a time. Jeremy from Green 13 has a good saying. He says, what you focus on, you can change. And it's so true. If you are laser focused in on 2 or 3 of these metrics, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to improve these. You start monitoring them and tracking them, your brain automatically starts going, I'm seeing some connections. Maybe if I change this, this number will go up. So I'm giving you the big picture, but that doesn't mean you have to look at all of them at one time. What is it in your business? What metric fits in with your goal? So what's going to help you grow, or what's going to help you maintain? What's going to, maybe you're introducing new product lines and your focus is on how well product lines are doing. And when I say product lines, I know that's a very technical term for, manufacturing or retail, but maybe you're a clothing seller and you mainly do t-shirts and you want to start introducing jeans and socks. So now you have product lines, right? In vintage, I do vintage decor, but I have product lines. I do a different show on a different aesthetic every Saturday. My product lines are primitive, blue and white, farmhouse, French country. Those are my product lines. And I can tell you already there's differences in those by looking at my analytics. I know my primitives are my best sellers versus maybe farmhouse, cozy cottage is a little bit lower. But that also changes. That's seasonal too. So we'll talk about looking at trends. I want to look at all of them, but find a couple to focus. Exactly, crystals. When one changes, it will automatically, it does. And we're going to talk about how they work in conjunction with each other, but you're absolutely true. All right, so order count, we just talked about, that's the number of transactions. So you can look at this to see, you can look at your order count to start to determine what time of shows produce the most sales, what days, what product lines. What's the biggest question in help shows that we see? I know any of you who goes to chat shows sees this question all the time. That question is, how do I get more people in my room? How do I get more buyers? Well, best time of day. Yes, that's it. The best time of day. Well, you know what? Best time to go live. Exactly. This could kind of tell you. Now, you can't do one show and determine this, right? You've got to look at it over a period of time. That's why I like to do my analytics on a monthly basis and then compare one month to another. For me, I feel that that's a good time frame. However, if you are doing shows 7 days a week, you may want to compare week over week, not month over month. So you really need to look at how you're operating and how that information is going to be useful in the terms of your operations. If you're doing 3 shows a week, maybe you want to look at it weekly, and then expand it to monthly. But you can start to look and see, use your order count along with your average order value, your buyer count. You can combine these numbers to really start seeing, wow, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. seems to be a great show, and it's been great consistently week after week. Maybe I should keep Tuesdays at 7 p.m., right? Or Sundays are awful for me. I just can't figure out why, but they've never been good. Maybe that's my day off. Okay. My husband's giving me messages. He's telling me to remind everybody about our YouTube channel, but I have no idea where that button is. Oh, there it is. Check that out. Look at this. Y'all, if you don't have to buy anything to rewatch, you could always go to YouTube to rewatch any of my shows. I always say, I don't know why you want to rewatch me, but feel free. Okay, so order count. We're talking order count. You can also look at your order count over time to judge how things are working, such as, did you start a new start offering a new coupon? Thank you, Nick Jack. Did you start offering a new coupon? You can judge how effective that coupon has been depending on what type of coupon. Are your orders going up because of it? Do you have, say, the first of the month, you put in a coupon in your show notes for everybody to use that month? Did it increase your orders? How about if you've always used a coupon and now you're going to stop it? So now you want to know, okay, instead of starting a new coupon campaign, if I stop one, does stopping one have an effect on my order count? So you can gauge the effectiveness of things that you're doing. You can use this even to gauge the effectiveness of your rewards program. Before you start the rewards program, maybe you're a new seller and you haven't reached the requirements yet to do it, get some analytics. Then the next quarter, when you do your rewards program, compare it. Did my rewards program help? Did it change anything? Did it improve things for me? Maybe you do a rewards and you have it set up in a certain way one quarter and then you set it up completely different. I did that this quarter. I completely changed my perspective on rewards this quarter and changed it. You know dang well at the end of the quarter, I'm going to compare the two to see, did it make a difference in some of these numbers? Okay. You can also take your order count to look at what are your average sales per hour. We kind of talked about that before. Are giveaways effective? Exactly. You can look at it. Do the giveaways work? If I do giveaways, do I increase my orders? Perfect example of how to judge what you are doing and if it's working. Because I'll tell you what, there is no way, and you will never convince me otherwise, that you can go through shows, say a whole month of shows, not look at your analytics, do giveaways, and then tell me, oh, my giveaways work. They increase my orders. How do you know that? Because you feel it? You don't know that. You don't know that unless you're looking at hard, cold evidence that proves that, right? Is there a place to see who has earned rewards? Yes. Under the rewards tab for you in the Seller Hub, you can see who's in each level, how many people, and it actually lists who they are in each level for you. The YouTube page is right there. It's the same name, Zoe's Treasures, on YouTube. So your average sales per hour. So even if you aren't a liquidator, it's good to have an idea of how many items you sell per hour, right? I know mine's around 20 to 25 just for the last 30 days. So before when I was taking these notes, I'm like, that's interesting. Let's figure this out. It's not one of those metrics that I look at on a regular basis. It's not one that I'm focused on right now, but it was interesting to see per hour I sell about this many items. So how do you take that number and make it useful? Okay. If you know you sell about 25 items an hour and you know your average selling price is say $15 an hour, let's do 10 to keep the math easy. My average selling price is $10 per item. I sell 20 items an hour. That's $200 of revenue an hour, right? Well, if I have a goal, if I go into a show and I say my goal is $600 in this show, and I look back and I know I sell about 20 items an hour at about $10 a piece, I'm going to have to be on for 3 hours, right? In order to meet my goal. I can't logically go on for an hour and expect to make a $600 goal if historically I make $10 on an average order and I'm only selling 20 an hour, right? What are you doing? Setting yourself up for failure if you don't know what it takes to get to that goal. Okay, so that's just one way you can use some of the order count figure. Thank you for your purchase from the bin. Y'all, I see some of you unlocking tiers. Congratulations. Go up here, click on the crown. If you are unlocking tiers, don't forget to get your coupons and put them in your wallet so you can use them at either now or in a future show. All right. Average order value is another metric on there. I love this one. This one is one of my KPIs or one of my metrics that I track on a regular basis. Again, I want to know a certain average. I do free shipping. So I know that if items are less than £1, I have to make $5 just to break even on the shipping, let alone fees and everything else. I have to make 10 to break even for items that weigh £1 or more. So that's a very important number to me that I'm constantly looking at. I love this number too, because it's not just looking at one item. It's looking at averages over a span of time. You can just look at, it doesn't even do one item. It's always an average either over a show or whatever time period that you set at the top of that analytics screen. Let me start another giveaway really quick here before I forget. This one is for a Halloween postcard. That's cute. Look at it. He has mushrooms. It's a ghost with mushrooms on his head. How adorable is that? All right. That's up and going. Okay. Average order value. So Whatnot says, this is how Whatnot defines this. The average final price of each completed order. Whatnot calculates this figure by dividing your estimated sales by your order count. Okay. So what was your estimated sales? Remember, estimated sales is the total revenue less coupons. Okay. Not less fees, just the total less coupons was your estimated sales. So that number divided by the order count gives you your average order value. Okay. So if you're calculating average order value on your estimated earnings, it's going to be lower. Or if you're not counting the coupons, it's going to be a little bit higher. So your number may not match Whatnot's number if this is a calculation you're doing on your own. So like I said, this is my absolute favorite metric that I look at religiously. I look at it after every show. I monitor this closely. It gets transferred from Whatnot into a spreadsheet that I keep to analyze on a regular basis. So you should have a good idea of what this number is to break even and be profitable. If your average order value is $4, what are you paying for your items? First of all, let's just break this down. If your average order value is $4, and this is the Southern the one you look at the most too, exactly. To me, this is the most quick hit, useful one. Like, I want some immediate information. This is a good one. So let's just say $4 is your average order value. Well, if your cost of goods for that, of what you paid for whatever the item is that you sold, is more than about $250, you're probably losing money. And I'm assuming buyer pays all shipping in my example. You're probably losing money, right? You may be making a few cents. So just because you sold it for $4, unless you paid less than $2, probably not doing so great. Now, this may change if you're looking at volume. If you're one of those people that sells 300 items an hour, that could be a little bit different scenario. So you do need to apply it within the way that it fits into what you sell. Let's say your average order value is $15. Yeah, it's probably good. And I like this because this compensates, the average order value compensates for those ones, those loss leaders, those items that, hey, I know I'm going to sell some of this stuff. I'm going to take a loss, but I'm going to make some really good money on some of this other stuff, right? And it gives you that average between the two. So if it's 15 and you're paying $3 or $4 an item and you're doing shipping, well, this is working out for me, right? So you can start to see where that number needs to be. And it's such a super quick hit number that you can look at after every single show and say, that did not work out well for me at all. What do I need to change before the next show? Because if I continue to bleed like this isn't going to be good for my business. Very quick hit, turn around, make fast decisions from this number. Part of the reason people don't like analytics is they're not immediate. They don't provide instant gratification. They're a long game, a long-term game. You have to collect data and then you look at how you change it over a period of time. So that's part of the reason people are like, we're a quick hit society, right? We want instant gratification. We want to know something right away and we want to make a change and see a result. It's not going to work that way with analytics. It's a long game. However, this number is more, it's reality. And sometimes you don't like what you see, so you want to bury your head. Look, I'm not going to lie. I've been right there with you. How many people go out on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're either antique shopping or you're out with your friends, you're doing whatever, you're having a good old time. And then come Monday morning, you're like, I really should look at my bank account. No, I don't want to look at my bank account. I've done it. Yep, I've done that. This is the same thing. You're having a good old time selling on whatnot. You're able to pull money out and put it in your bank. You're like, yeah, I'm doing good. I don't want to go and do this because I might show me that I'm not doing good and I have to change. I've got to do something different, right? That's what being in business is. Yeah. Okay. So this is one of those quick hit ones. So this is one that from one show to the next, you can make instant decisions off of and change. It also works at looking at the long game. Okay. So I use this all the time to see what my average order value is before and after shipping expenses. Okay. Because after shipping expenses, I still need to cover everything else, right? I still need to make sure that my average order value is at a certain point to cover everything else in my business, all those subscriptions we talked about, all of the shipping supplies I need to buy. And Frankie 2010, you won that cute little ghost and mushroom postcard. Thank you for being in the show today. Good morning, England. How are you today? Okay, let's talk about the next metric that's on there, buyer count. Now, I think buyer count's important. This is one of the metrics that I look at on a regular basis. It's one of my KPIs, one of my key performance indicators that I look at. Now, keep in mind, because you pick 2 or 3 metrics to focus on, doesn't mean that's the only thing. Your metrics that you pick to really focus on should match up to whatever goals you have for your business, right? Right now, one of my goals is increasing my average order count and increasing my buyer count. So those are 2 numbers I'm going to pay a lot of attention to figure out how to change and improve, right? So Whatnot says, this is how they calculate unique buyers. It is the number of unique buyers who have completed orders with you. This shows new and returning buyers, okay? Did you wait for your average order to be high enough to cover shipping before changing to free shipping or close? Yes, I did, Crystals. I did not make the decision to go to, first of all, reduced or then down to free shipping until I knew that I could absorb that expense, until my numbers showed I may lose a little bit of money. Because if I would have done it a year ago, I would have lost a lot more money. So I did analyze my numbers in order to make that decision. And that's a good point. That's one of the ways. Shipping is a huge deal on Whatnot, right? You can't go into a show and not hear somebody talking about shipping. And I'm not talking about what size box you use and all of that stuff. But do I do reduced? Do I do free? This is where you're going to figure out if you can or can't and how much it's going to cost you. And can you absorb that and still pay the rest of the bills? Tinkerbell, thank you so much.
Welcome in, Raiders. Forget snakes and booby traps. Instead, free shipping and dollar starts.
Tinkerbell, thank you so much. Normally we will pull up your profile, but I have not learned how to do that yet. And with my husband not here, it's not going to happen. So please, please, please put in the chat what you sell, when your next show is. Give us all the deets about you so that people can check you out. And If you are just joining with Tinkerbell, my name's Tracy. This is Always Treasures. We are doing a chat show on analytics this morning, so stay tuned. Maybe you'll find something new to overthink about. That's what I do. I overthink about this stuff. Okay, we're talking about number of unique buyers. The unique buyers that Whatnot shows you in that analytic is new and returning. It's just how many people bought from you during that show. You need to have a healthy mix of both new and returning buyers. And we're going to talk about where to see those specific numbers later. This unique buyers combines them all into one. But let's talk about this. You don't just want new buyers, right? I want new buyers, but I don't just want new buyers. I want people coming back to me. If people aren't coming back to me, what am I doing wrong? Why aren't they coming back? So you want a healthy mix of new and returning buyers. But you can look at this to say, my unique buyers are consistent every single show. Okay, so say Tinkerbell sells beauty, fragrances, and more. That's really cool, Tinkerbell. Y'all, please check her out if you are interested in that type of stuff. You can look at your shows and see your unique buyers and say, oh, okay, every show I have between 15 and 20. I have between 15 and 20. If that's your trend over time, well, that's great that you're having 15 to 20 buyers. I mean, that's wonderful. But do you want to grow that? How does that fit into your goals? Is that okay? Is 15 or 20 buyers going to produce the revenue you need to sustain your business? Or do you really say, no, I mean, I can't, this isn't enough buyers for me. I need more buyers. You're going to look at this and compare it to your other metrics to figure out, okay, what am I doing wrong or right? What am I doing to encourage new people to come into my shows, to buy in my shows? Am I doing coupons? Maybe I can offer a coupon. What can I do to encourage a new buyer? What can I do to encourage somebody to come back to me? And if they're not coming back, why? What am I doing wrong that people aren't coming back to me? The unique buyers and your new and returning buyers are vital numbers for your business. So if you have a very low amount of returning buyers, I would start asking myself, why aren't they coming back? Is my packing not good enough? Are things breaking in when I'm shipping? Am I not entertaining enough? Is my product not high quality enough product for people? Look at this one. This is a cute little kitty cat one. That is up and running right now. That's our next giveaway. If you're not getting new buyers, why aren't you getting new people? Are you not appealing to them? Are you not friendly enough? Are you doing shows like this? Hi, my name's Tracy. I'm selling this mouse. If you like it, you can buy it. What are you doing to attract them? So this number is going to tell you. Thank you so much, Mary Lack. So we've talked about, how about, are you using the rewards club to incentivize your returning buyers? There's so many different things you can look at on ways to increase those numbers. Or maybe it's not a focus for you. Maybe having a consistent amount of 10, 15 buyers is okay for you. I don't really want to grow. Maybe you're not in a growth stage. We always hear in business, oh, if you want to get bigger, to do this, to grow. Businesses go through phases. They're not always going to be in a growth phase. You may be in a sustaining phase, and that's okay. I'm currently in a sustaining phase. There's certain metrics I want to improve, but I'm in a sustaining phase right now. My husband's going through some health stuff. I just want to keep my business going and going as is. And then in 2026, I can look at higher and bigger goals. So maybe if you're looking at this and you're like, okay, I know the next couple of months are going to be extremely difficult for me for a multitude of personal reasons. I just want to make sure that I keep my 10 to 15 buyers per show and I can sustain, so that I can focus on something later on. That's okay. But this will help you measure if you're even doing that, or 2 months into this, your unique buyers are going down and you're like, okay, I'm not even sustaining. What realistically can I do in my business right now? Okay. Because you can continue to have a show after show after show, make some money, but without going into the numbers, you're really not knowing how successful that is. And perfect example of this, I was talking to my husband just last week, and I'm like, I was feeling a little discouraged last week. I've recently had to pull back on my Monday show due to personal reasons and everything going on in life. And I'm like, is this going to hurt my business? I just feel like I'm not growing. Is what not really working for me? And all of those thoughts, which I think are very common. We all go through periods of this. And he asked me, he's like, how's your analytics? Are you making money? What do the numbers tell you, Tracy? Go look at them. So I went back and I'm like, looked at my spreadsheet, kind of figured out some more things and looked at my analytics. And I'm like, you know what? I'm still doing what I need to do. I'm still making what I need to make. I may not be able to expand that right now, but I'm okay. And it's better than it was at this time last year. So you know what? I take that as success for me, and we're okay for right now. So it could really totally change your perspective. Good morning, Burlap Barn. How are you? Okay. Let's see. Stream time is the next analytic that is going to show on that overall screen. So Whatnot says this is the amount of time you spent going live. So that's a pretty easy one to understand. This is a great one to utilize when to compare your stream time to your followers and buyer counts. So especially when you're looking at statistics on raid trains. So you do a raid train. I don't know about you. I think that's a gold. Oh, let me go back and see what Inga has to say. I think it's golden advice. You're not always in a growth stage. Yeah, exactly. I always stay in your lane. Yep. I mean, we compare ourselves, and I'm no different, to other people all the time. Don't worry about them. This is your business. Do you think Nike's out there comparing themselves to Adidas? They're like, no way. They're like, I'm just going to be the best Nike that I can be, and I'm going to kick butt and dominate the market. That's how we should be. I mean, we don't need to be like mean to each other, but it's go dominate, go be you. We have different life strategies, different growth areas. Burlap Barn says, I'm a teacher and my end goal is to not have to work summer school. I am giving myself this whole school year to get this up and going. Great. So let's take Burlap Barn as an example here. So Burlap Barn, probably just from what they said, is looking at making enough of a sustainable income during the summer months that they don't have to go and be a teacher during those months. So there's probably a certain dollar amount in their heads, like, okay, I need to make X number of dollars. Well, do you need to make it during the summer months? Can you make it in January, February, March, and April and have it put aside for the summer months? So if you're taking a whole year ahead of time, you got a year of analytics to see what works, what doesn't, what months are better, what months are worse, to figure out how to. Baker's Bees, you got that postcard. Thank you for being in the show. You've got that whole year to figure out what you're doing in order to get that money for the summer months. Doesn't mean all the money needs to be made in the summer months. Maybe October through December are your high profit months. Okay, I know this. I tried this last year. I know these are my moneymaker months. I'm going to take and put that money away so I don't have to work in the summertime. Or I don't have to teach in the summertime, whatever it is. So it's using your analytics, because if you go into this just thinking, okay, I'm going to make a bunch of money in these months and these months only, maybe that's not going to work for you. Maybe your analytics tells you a completely different story when you start looking back at them. I love that you experienced sellers are kind. Oh, thank you so much, hyperfixated mama. All right, I'm going to do another givey here, and then we're going to keep talking about this. Let's see. This one is for another Halloween postcard, and that's a ghost. Look at how cool that guy is. All right, that is up and going, and that is number 5. Okay, so I like using the stream time to compare to my new followers and my buyer count when I am on raid trains. I do not participate in a raid train to make a lot of money. If I do, wonderful. That's a cherry on top. That's bonus. That's not exactly what my goal is. Thank you so much for the tip. You didn't have to do that, but I greatly appreciate it. How long did it take you to get a good amount of returning buyers when you first started? Probably close to a year, Southern Charm. It was probably a good year. I and my husband, and this is it too, don't ever forget where you started from. Like, I am not a big time seller. I feel so blessed to have 40 people in a show at any given time. I've only ever organically had over 100 people in a show once. And when I say organically, I mean not on a raid train, not because somebody raided me, but because I started a show, and within the time period I was on my show, that number went to over 100. One time in almost 2 years for me. So I always look back. We always talk about, remember when you would get so excited that you had 5 people and then 10 people. My goals used to be, I want to make $50 a show. And I was so thrilled. If I got to 49, I'm like, look, I'm almost there. So just don't ever forget those feelings. All right. So we were on stream time, using it to gauge, taking your stream time, looking at how long you streamed, and then looking at your new follower numbers. Good morning, Zempress, and your buyer count. So when you're on a raid train, if your goal is really it's like a marketing thing. You're creating awareness of who you are. You're getting yourself and your product in front of people who don't know you. You're getting more exposure. This is a good thing to see how effective that raid train was for you. And maybe 30-minute raid trains work better for you than 10-minute raid trains, or maybe the 10 minutes raid trains are the ones that you gain the most followers or buyers in. So good morning. The most important people are the ones in your show at any given time. 5 or 100% Faye West Designs. I could not totally 100% agree with you. A raid train is like a commercial slot. Yes, it is. 100%. The raid train is your chance to show people who you are and what you bring to the table. So using your stream time and then you're looking at your buyer and follower account is a really good way to judge effectiveness of something that you've done, particularly like a raid train. So it's not going to tell you everything you need to know, but it's a good starting point. It's to get a good feel for if that raid train was successful for you or not, as far as gaining followers or buyers. All right, now, the next metric is number of lives. We all know this. How many times did you go live, right? How many shows did you host during whatever time period you're looking at? This helps put numbers in context, okay? I don't necessarily care about my number of lives. I mean, I look at it, but for me, I use it to help frame everything else. So it puts the rest of what I'm looking at in a context. What if one month you did very high revenue, the next month you did low revenue? A lot of sales, low sales. Well, did you have the same number of shows? Yes. Okay. If I had the same number of shows and I did a lot of money, then I did a little bit of money. Well, what was different? What did I change? Why did my sales go down? Maybe you didn't do the same number of lives, but you streamed longer. So maybe one month you did 12 one-hour shows. So you did shows, 3 times a week. But the next month you're like, I can't do 3 times a week. I'm going to do once a week, but I'm going to do 3-hour shows once a week. Okay, so my stream time, my number of lives, technically between those two are the same month to month, but was one more effective than the other, right? Doing a lot of shorter shows worked better for me than doing 4 longer shows. Always pivoting. Yep. Always looking at different ones. Now, when I start comparing this, it gets very difficult for me anyways, to switch and pivot too often. I think pivoting is wonderful, but you've got to give metrics a little bit of time. I personally try to go a month. That's kind of my rule of thumb, is to give something a month before I try to look at my metrics to make decisions based on that. So for example, when I went to dollar starts, I did dollar starts for 2 months before I said, okay, I'm really going to analyze all this data I collected to determine what my next step is. 3 to 4 weeks creates a habit. It sure does. So you can't, this is a hard one to judge consistently, like week over week. You got to give it some time to build up. Tinkerbell, congratulations, you won that giveaway. Thanks for being here. Let's see if I remember this. There you go. I got my husband red chatting me. You didn't press the buttons. Okay. So, like I said, your number of lives goes hand in hand with the stream time. Those of you who are new, you don't have to buy anything to watch this. You can always just check me out on YouTube. Everything is multicast, streamed, whatever. You can go there and rewatch for free. That's what I'm trying to say that. Burlap Barn, this is all doing to my husband. He is a technology genius, at least he is in my mind, and he sets this all up for us. If you're interested in learning, you can contact him. He'll throw it. Zoe's Tees Mod. He's down there in the box. And he does free trainings for people when they're interested. All right. Let's look at the next one. Number of lives. I forgot a metric. The metric is if you divide your total order count by your stream time to get your average sales per hour. So that's how you can come up to your average count per hour, how many things you're selling. So divide your total order count by your stream time to get your average orders or sales per hour. Then you can compare that based on stream time. So it gives you if you're looking at an average per hour, then you can really say, okay, when I'm doing 4-hour shows, I'm selling 30 things an hour. But when I do a 1-hour show, I'm selling 40 things an hour. It's giving you a common denominator, because it's hard to compare a 4-hour show to a 1-hour show. It's just logically, to wrap your head around those differences is hard. So if you can break it down into how many sales you make per hour, now you have a base point to compare sales per hour from a longer show to a shorter show. It gives you something more to work from. You're very welcome. Well, congratulations on doing your next show, or your first show next month, Angel. Let us know when it is, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who will go and support you. There's a lot of us who purposely go to first shows. Okay, so now you can start asking yourself, are my longer shows working better than my shorter shows? Do I need to increase it? You can start to then make good decisions instead of just going by what everybody says. Because if you ask anybody on whatnot, maybe not everybody, the majority of people say, you got to be on for hours. You're not gonna sell anything till you hit the 2-hour mark. You got to be on for hours to make any profit here. You'll never grow if you're not on for hours. For me, that's not true. For somebody else, it may be very true. I know it's not true because I've analyzed my numbers. I don't do long shows. The longest show I've ever done is 2.5 hours. It is far and few between that I dive into, I'm trying to read a chat and talk at the same time. It's very far and few between that I go over 2 hours. And I've made a very successful whatnot business for our family, me and my husband have, at least in my metrics of success. However, if you are a volume seller and your business is based on moving a lot of product, time may be a huge factor in what you're doing, right? How long you're on. I used to think that way until I ran the numbers, and now I'm no longer than 2. See, there you go. Kimmy has found the same thing to be true for her, but it might not be true for everybody. It really depends on what you're selling, what your goals are. All of these numbers are going to be, you need to match up. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said for the people who missed it. Pick the metrics that correlate to your goals and focus on those. Nope, I only stream for 2 hours and average about 50 to 60 items an hour, Miss Big Papa Pump says. I sell more in the beginning and mid-show. So, I'm not saying people who say stay on for hours are that they're wrong, because they're probably drawing from their own experience and it's probably worked for them. They're not giving you bad information. They're giving you information from their perspective. So that's okay. I'm giving you information from mine. But you know what doesn't lie? You know what takes all the bias out of it? Numbers. Look at your analytics. Your analytics is going to take all the personal feelings out, all the bias, all the personal perspective, and give you cold, hard truth. I am doing a reverse auction, Crafty Fairies. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. But yes, I am. Tomorrow night, I'm doing a reverse auction, and I'm doing it different than I did last time. So we'll get to that. All right, let's talk about the next metric on your overall screen. So when you're on your analytics screen, there's 3 tabs. We're on the overall screen. Keep going, Burlap Barn. Don't give up. Okay, max concurrent viewers. So this is the highest number of viewers that you have at any time in your show. Okay, so your max concurrent viewers. That's Whatnot's definition, the highest viewer count achieved in any of your shows at any given time. So I say we use this and we compare it to the times and days. This is a good way to figure out what times and days work for you, right? Look, I'm not a believer that having 1 million followers is the best thing, but having viewers is really good. And there is some correlation to followers and viewers. But the more people you have in your room at the same time, the higher the odds that they're going to want that product. Because I sell unique stuff. I sell vintage, right? Let's see. Look at this beauty. Not everybody and their brother likes glass. There's people out there who are pottery people. And they're like, slung vase, who cares? But if I have 50 people in a room, I'm going to be lucky if 20 of them are into glass. And then maybe lucky if 10 of them are into blue glass. And then maybe lucky if 5 of them don't already have one of these. So I've gone from 40 people down to maybe 2 or 3 that potentially might even buy this item. So the more viewers you have in your room, the higher your chances are, right? Now I think there's a flip side. I think there's a flip side to this too. Because we've all experienced those rooms that have so many viewers that you feel you can't win an auction. So there's a sweet spot in here somewhere. And I think that sweet spot differs depending on what you sell, how you sell it, who you are. That helped to explain it so well. Maybe the products or the price aren't the problem. It's getting the right audience. 100%. 100%. I know that when Southern Charm's in my room, she's always in my room. She's a huge supporter. But when she's in my room, she likes primitives. If I'm doing Cozy Cottage, she may buy some of it, but I know her real thing are the primitives, and that Rusty Crusty and the Crocs and stuff like that are more of her favorite. So it's love primitives. So it's understanding your buyers, but it's just knowing that just because those people are in your room, that percentage of who actually wants that product may be really low. So having a larger amount of viewers gives you a better chance at selling that product. Not to get off topic, but need info on the owl on the shelf. Crystals, the owl on the shelf. Oh, that guy up there, that is a Viking, and he will be auctioned tomorrow in my reverse auction. Check him out. Is that not pretty? It's a big old thick piece of glass. So he will be available tomorrow night with 10 people. So Pick and Pretty Trading, 100% best show with just 10 people. They are not listed. Everything will be listed tonight. I've got all my pictures done. I just haven't got time to list them yet. Southern Charm loves owls too. Okay, so when we're talking about max concurrent viewers, let's start thinking, how are we increasing this number? So if you start trending, you start looking at this number, show over show or over time, right? Week over week. Do certain products increase your view or your buyer or your viewers? If I'm selling primitive, do I have more viewers in my room than when I'm selling blue and white? I don't know that just by doing one show. Maybe I could do one show of each and say, yeah, I had more of primitive. But does one show tell me anything? But if I do 3 shows of primitive and 3 shows of blue and white, and consistently more people I have more viewers when I do primitives, my business mind is saying, I need to do more primitive shows, right? So do certain products result in a higher number of max concurrent viewers? Does a change in your selling style affect your max concurrent viewers? Okay. If I'm doing random polls, how did that my max concurrent viewers look versus when I'm doing listed items? And it's hard. Again, I'm going to go back to, you can't go on feeling. You could be making sales in both shows. You can be seeing great numbers, but you really don't know until you look over a period of time that, you know what? I really don't like doing randoms, but my audience must love it because my max concurrent viewers are always higher when I do random numbers, right? I started doing niche and wanted to change to a different niche. I think I have the wrong following now because of that. It may just take time. It's hard. Sometimes it can be hard to break into certain categories. I'll be fully honest. I tried doing children's books and I bombed. I bombed big time. I could not break into that niche. So now I have about 500 children's books that I'm willing to make really good deals on if anybody's interested. Side note. All right. So did a change in how you're selling affect those numbers? And look at it over a period of time. Did your background change have an effect? We talk about it all the time. You have this box to impress people and to keep them to stay, and you have very little time to do so. So what's in that box matters. What you're wearing matters. How you look matters. If you put the bra on or if you brushed your hair matters. What's behind you matters. If you display products, do you retain people longer than if you don't display products? These are all these kind of like intangible things that you may not think about, but it's affecting your buyers. And it's affecting how many people are going to stay in your room. This is how you know. Look at this. Go back and look at your social. Look at your max concurrent viewers. Get a trend. Understand what's happening. Find the things that are similar. Okay, I'm going to look over a month. I had my top 5 highest numbers for max concurrent viewers. What did those 5 shows have in common? I was selling a certain product. I was selling from a certain place. I was selling in a certain style. I was doing something. Figure out what your top ones were and kind of come up with the ideas. And okay, well, let's see, this was similar between all of those. Let me go and keep doing that and see if my numbers still stay up. Okay, well, maybe that wasn't it. But I was live selling. Wow, maybe they like live selling. So use this to make decisions. Analyze it, figure out what works, And everybody asks how to be successful. Here you go. Take the numbers and use them to your benefit. Make decisions based on them. Okay. Let's see. So that was your max concurrent viewers. Buyer referrals is the next metric that's on there. I'm going to start another giveaway. Look at, I'm proud of myself. I'm actually remember giveaways today. Today is a pumpkin spice little sachet thing. So, oh, it smells so good. You can put it in your drawer, put it around the house, and it smells so good. That is what's up right now. And that is number 6. Okay. Buyer referrals. So Whatnot says, you have one in your, oh, that's a good idea because then the heat would make it smell really good. Whatnot says the number of buyers who have created accounts and have completed an order using your buyer referral code or link. This isn't a metric I do a lot with. However, I think this is an amazing one if one of your goals and one of the things you're measuring is how many people you're converting from other social media platforms to Whatnot. Because how would they come over here? Word of mouth and probably using your referral code, right? More often than not. So this is a way to really monitor, are your efforts on TikTok or Instagram or wherever you are working? Are people using that code that you're putting out there? So there may be other ways. This was the one that, because I don't use this a lot, I was like, okay, how can you really understand this and use this to your advantage? But I really think that your buyer referrals, you can measure the effectiveness of converting other social media onto Whatnot by looking at your buyer referrals. So if you have a large following already on another social platform, this may be a metric that you're focused on. You're like, look, I've been on this other platform for a couple of years. I'm on fire over there. I got 1 million followers. People love me. Start putting out that referral code and monitoring if you're able to migrate them over to Whatnot or not. And this is how you can see if it's being effective. Okay. Then we also have buyer shares. So Whatnot says this is the number of times buyers have shared your shows. Okay. I'm going to give you a very unpopular opinion here. I think this doesn't mean a damn thing. In my opinion, the number of times. Now, that does not mean I am not grateful every time I see somebody has shared a show. I'm immensely grateful. But as a metric that I can make a decision off of, I don't think it's useful. And the reason I say that is because you can hit that share button and do nothing with it. Okay? You can click share and never share it. So if Whatnot's telling me that you had X number of shares, how is that useful unless it's telling me what the end result is? You had X number of shares through text messages. You had X number of shares to other users on Whatnot. That would be useful, but that information isn't available to me. All that number tells me is how many times somebody clicked that button. So I don't find it a useful metric for myself. I don't want to discourage anybody else. I just don't find it useful for me. You're not wrong. And people also use it to spam people. Exactly, which can hurt you 100%. To see if it was useful, watch during your show and it will tell you who joined from a share link. Perfect, Miss Big Papa Pump. Thank you. That would be the only way that you can really determine. So you can count during a show how many people joined through a shared link, like Miss Big Papa Pump says, and then that can give you, you can then compare that number to the number that the metric that Whatnot gives you of how many people shared. So if Whatnot tells you 10 people shared it, but you got 0 that you saw come in through a shared link, okay, well, thank you for sharing, but is that effective for me? Or maybe you saw 5 people. You're like, wow, people sharing in my show is actually something that works. If it works, let me encourage it. Maybe that's something you're going to mention more often then. If you see some correlation that it's working, maybe then start building in your speech during your show. Hey, you guys, I'd appreciate it if you share my show. But if you're not seeing anything, then maybe instead of saying, hey, share my show, you're saying, hey, can you check out what I have bookmarked or take a look at what's behind me? All right, so using that metrics to guide what you're selling, how you're saying it, what you're doing during your shows. But they say it helps the algorithm, so maybe it brings people in. Possibly. If I could ever understand the exact algorithm, I would agree. So possibly. And you can judge that too. You can judge. You can have a bunch of people share the show and watch you do it time and time again. Like you could do, and this is one of the things I love about Jeremy at Green 13. He's always like, oh, I'm doing an experiment. I love experiments. I ask people to tag a friend and says, oh, I like tag a friend. Because that, to me, tagging brings people in. Because you want to know. It pops up on your phone. You want to know, what are they saying about me? What do they want? You know, it gives you that FOMO when you see that you're tagged versus sharing a show. What type of shipping is best for first-time buyers selling clothes? If we have time at the end, I'll get into shipping. Sunshine Vintage Style, you won that giveaway. Thank you for being in the show. I'll make a note down here about shipping, and we'll see if we can get to it at the end of this, because shipping is a very loaded topic. Kendra, I'm going to refer you over to the Hodgepodge Place on YouTube. She's also a Whatnot seller, so feel free to follow her on Whatnot. But on YouTube, she has some really great shipping videos. Also, Living Bliss Vintage on Fridays does shipping shows. They know far more than I do about shipping and so many different categories. So I would definitely go and see those people. Okay, so we talked about buyer shares. Let's talk about followers. So total number of follows you received from referrals and non-referrals. So you can go into your analytics and you can do your time frame and see how many follows you received. I know followers don't matter, right? It's buyers that matter. But we can still use this number again to gauge effectiveness of other things we are doing. Earlier, I mentioned the effectiveness of raid trains. If I'm doing a raid train, I'm doing it for marketing purposes. Therefore, I want followers, right? That's kind of the correlation. Was it an effective raid train for me? Was it just my normal crowd already there? Or did new people get to see me and see what I sell? So that's a way you can use it, using it with other metrics to gauge effectiveness of those metrics. Giveaways are another one. I love doing giveaways that do not require, if you notice, if you don't already follow me and I run a giveaway, let me start one right now so you can see, just in case you aren't already following me. We're starting another giveaway. Oh, this is a vintage black and white photos. I don't require you to follow me when you get in a giveaway. You can come in here, you can just be lurking, and you can be like, no, I'm going to enter the giveaway, but I don't want to follow her. And that's okay. I want organic followers. I want you to follow me because you either like what I have to say, you like the product, you like the setup, you like whatever. I don't want you to follow just to get something for free. So if I do a giveaway, it's out of just because I enjoy doing it. But if you're newer and you're doing giveaways to try to increase your following base, this could be a good way to gauge the effectiveness of it. Do a couple of shows with no giveaways, see what your followers, see what that count changes as, right? Do some shows with giveaways, see if your giveaways actually help you turn them into followers. Then take it the next step and start monitoring your follower count versus your new buyer count. So, okay, I'm increasing my followers. Is there a correlation to my new buyers? So if my followers are going up, if followers matter, if my followers are going up, my new buyers should also be going up at about the same rate. If they're not, those two numbers don't mean anything to each other, okay? We are conditioned to think quality over quantity. Exactly. I get more followers when I mod for someone. That Out and About Vintage, that's such a good point. My husband says it all the time. He goes, I don't even sell, but people follow me. I'm like, because you're chatting, you're talking, you're active. So if you really want to know if just gaining a lot of followers, how many of you go and look at, you can go through chat shows or whatever, and there's a lot of chat shows, and I'm not getting down on people, but there's chat shows that'll say, follow for follow, followers raid train. Just if you were to do that, take a few moments to see if your followers are going up, are your new buyers also increasing at the same rate? If they are, then I will 100% change my mind that followers matter. What about putting a gift in buyer's package instead of giveies? You can do that. If you're putting a gift in the package, why are you putting it in there? Are you putting it in there to encourage sales? So in order to monitor the effectiveness of that, if you're just doing it to say thank you, I don't care what the outcome of that is, then there's no metric to monitor. But if you're doing it to encourage returning buyers, then you're going to want to put little gifts in a bag for a month or two. Monitor if those people are returning to you or not. Look at your returning buyers. Is that number slowly growing? Even if it's growing very, very slow, is it growing since you started putting gifts in the bag? But again, You focus in on those metrics that fit in with your goals. And then you determine ways to increase that metric. And the ways to increase those metrics are in your selling style, what you're doing in shipping, such as putting gifts in, how you're using coupons. So it's how do you use all the tools available to change that metric to help you meet your goal. I put up what do you meme card, and just for a laugh and a smile. Oh, that's neat. That would make me smile too. Now, I'm not trying to discourage people from putting things in bags, because there's multiple reasons. Everything you should do in business should be a reason behind it. There should be either you're trying to drive sales, increase buyers, increase your viewers, get your name out there as just marketing. There should be some reason. Or bottom line, you just like it. But there should hopefully be more of a reason. Then you take that reason and you think it through. How do I measure that reason? Is it effective? Because if it's not, then you might want to say, okay, well, then why am I doing this? Right? I do giveaways. I'm going to be completely honest. I do giveaways in this show for a couple of reasons. One, I enjoy it. I don't typically do giveaways in my other shows unless they're array trained and they're required. Occasionally I have, but I typically don't, because I do free shipping instead. The other reason I do giveaways in this show is hopefully to reach new people, because every single new person is going to get a coupon. They're going to get a coupon to hopefully bring them back. It is a marketing tool. Do you see any changes in new buyers based on the number of positive reviews, or any metrics related to increasing sales coming from reviews? I have never looked at that. I think reviews are good, and I think reviews really help, particularly at the beginning. I think the five star is probably more widely looked at on a quick basis. I think there's a wide split on if people actually read reviews or not. When you were just starting out, to gather some of those good reviews really does help you, because it gives people confidence. Eclectic Elegance, congratulations, you got those 2 black and white postcards. Or not postcards, sorry, pictures, vintage pictures. I think having those good written reviews at the very beginning builds trust. It gives people trust in you. I don't know you. If I come into your show and you're new to me, I have no idea if I can trust you. Are you going to ship me my items? Are they going to be shipped in a way that they don't break? Are you going to be timely? I don't know this if you're new to me. And the only way to know it is to either look at the reviews or look at your rating. I'm not one to read a lot of reviews. I'm a big gut person. I go into a room, and if my gut's like, oh, something's off, I just leave. But if I'm like, hey, this person's kind of cool, I'm a risk taker. I'm more willing to do it. However, there's other people who are like, I've got to read the reviews. I think when you're new, they matter more so. I think keeping your 5-star for the long run is probably what's, to me, the most important. Okay, so that was followers. Oh, the other thing on followers, if you're monitoring them, what are you doing if you see spikes in your followers change? So if you change your shipping methods, like if you go from buyer pays all to reduced, do you see spikes in your followers at that point? So you can start to measure some of your business decisions to see if that increases your following. Again, I don't think following is the end all be all, but if it is something that is important to you and you're measuring, here's things that you can do, and then to go and look at the effect on your followers. The last one is, I'm going to probably push some buttons with people on this one, but when you go into somebody else's show and you do a paid sponsorship, so you're paying somebody else to shout you out for hopes that they follow, do you ever then go back and see how many more people followed you? Was it worth it? There's nothing wrong with you want to do paid sponsorships. I'm not against doing them. But are they having the effect that you want? Measure it. Did that $15, $25, $40, $50 you just spend give you the outcome you were looking for? And then, after you got those followers, do you now have new buyers in the next couple of shows? Just think about it. Someone gave me a bad review for a free sticker givey. How long does a negative take to drop off? It's a matter of numbers. Sell more stuff, it'll all average out. And I wouldn't worry about a negative review on a free givey. Most people who are logical and they would see that would be like, that kind of sucks that you got a bad review on a givey. Most people are going to look more bad at the person who gave it than at you for something like that. But just sell more. It'll eventually average out on your sales. Okay, now let's go to almost two of the most important metrics on your overall screen. Top buyers by sales and top buyers by orders. So if you've ever got curious enough and you're in your metric screen on the little overall tab, Burlap Barn, thank you so much for buying something. I do want you guys to know that you don't have to buy anything in my show. You can always just go to my YouTube and you can watch it for free at any time. But I do appreciate you buying something. Thank you so much. Okay, top buyers by sales and top buyers by orders. If you've ever been curious enough and you scroll down that analytics tab, you're going to get a list based on whatever time frame you have set at the top of that page of who your top buyers are by dollar amount and by number of orders. This is gold. This information is your bread and butter. If you are not looking at this and doing something with it, you are missing a huge opportunity. These are the people who are coming into your shows and spending money and buying multiple products. These are the people that are your returning buyers probably. You know, go by that 80-20 rule. 80% of your sales are going to come from about 20% of the people, right? Take care of them. Take care of them. You should be doing something with these numbers. Something. Setting up rewards, reaching out to them. Hey, I have this show coming up, doing a private show for them, giving them extra coupons, calling them out in your shows nicely, promoting them. Like if you know they're sellers, maybe you're mentioning them. You're returning that favor. You're doing that good deed. Like Southern Charm. Southern Charm is one of my best customers, top customers of all time, and I'm not degrading other customers. Southern Charm is always in the top of my list. And she's a seller too, and she sells amazing stuff. So y'all go and check out Southern Charm. You should be doing something similar to that. That is not why, that's not the only reason I'm nice to you. She is also an amazing person. And that did come out bad, didn't it? I did not mean it like that. But you should be taking care of them. And they do end up becoming friends. You could also get a great friendship out of it. But I mean, if you have never looked at who your top buyers and top orders are, don't call yourself out in the chat. Just think about it though. You could, one of the things I do on the first of every month, I look back and those people get an extra coupon. Thank you so much for being a great buyer. Thank you. Here, I want to encourage you to please come back and see me. I want to thank you. I want to give you a discount on something. So do something with those. It's just, I can't even explain enough that that's gold right there. Okay. All right, so that is the overall tab. Next over is the live stream tab. Let me run another giveaway here. What time are we? Oh, we're doing good on time. All right, the next giveaway. Oh, this is like a bath bomb, but it's like a tea bath bomb. It smells really, really good. And that's number 8. That's our next giveaway. Okay. So on the live stream tab, you're going to see a lot of the same metrics. However, you can see it by show. So this is the tab that I go to, and it takes sometimes about 24 hours to update fully. So you can't go immediately after your show, give it a day. But this is information that I take after every single show, and some of the metrics that I'm focused on, I transfer into a spreadsheet so that I can really monitor them show over show and then kind of look at it on a month. But looking at this information over the course of time, like over the course of a month, this is where you're going to start seeing what day or time is best, what is the best product. I have a spreadsheet, and after every show, I list what I was selling, what was the main theme or what I was doing. Was it a rate train? Was it a blue and white show, a primitive show, whatever it may be? And then I list my total sales, my cost of goods sold. I get some percentages on there. I always list how many new buyers versus returning buyers are in that show. And over time, I can start to see which shows, based on whatever I'm trying to increase, is helping me meet my goals. You can look at how other activities are affecting your sales. How are your coupons affecting your shows? Which products do better? How is my pricing affecting my shows? Maybe you do a show where you price everything at $1 or $5 or $10. And now you can start to judge against those. You could do everything at $1, like maybe do 3 or 4 dollar shows and then 3 or 4 shows that are $5 shows and compare them. You may be surprised to find out my $5 shows outshine everything else that I do. Maybe you're doing shows where you're pricing extremely high. You know what? Those shows seem to do great. You never just making sales is not enough to judge the effectiveness because you're not giving it over the course of time. You can look again. We've talked a lot about looking at raid trains. Good morning, Majestic. Was a raid train worth the effort? There are specific raid trains, and I'm not going to name them because they're not bad trains, but there have been trains that I'm on that even though I've made sales and made a few $100s of sales, at the end of it, I lost money. And after looking at that, over doing a certain specific trains a couple of times, I'm like, I'm just not going to do those trains anymore. They're not beneficial to me. But had I not looked at the analytics and looked at a few of them together and made those comparisons, I would have just thought, oh, I made a few $100 in that show. I'm good. Yeah, I'll keep doing that show. But I'm not saying they're cosmetic. I am saying, because I don't want to give a bad rep to any raid train. That's not the goal here. For me, there were some specific trains that I was participating in that I was losing money on consistently. So those trains in particular are not beneficial for me as a seller. So I just politely declined. Sorry, I can't be on that train. There are other trains though, because I monitor everything to the 10th degree, that do very well for me. And I will jump to be on those as fast as I can. So a raid train does not cost money to be on. A raid train costs you money in the sense of you just got to buy products. It's like it's a normal show. There's no cost involved in being on a raid train. And if anybody ever tries to charge you to be on a raid train, I'm pretty sure that's against terms of service. Don't do it. Raid trains are when you have a conductor, an organizer, who usually creates some type of a theme, and they gather a bunch of people together either randomly by posting a sign up, or they pick people and they put them on a schedule where one person starts the show, raids into the next on a time schedule. Again, they're all selling usually some type of a theme. You can go in on any given day and whatnot, particularly under vintage. I know there's a ton of them, and you can see raid trains going on consistently throughout the days. Yes, Sassy Vintage Chick, and she knows, you guys, the Sassy Vintage Chick right there, she is a Whatnot, I'm going to say ambassador. I don't know if I have the right word. She doesn't work for Whatnot, but she is part of their team where she does chat shows and brings you some Whatnot information once a month on a specific topic, but she also does her own chat shows every single week. So she would know. She has an inside scoop. A community host, thank you, community host on Whatnot. Okay, so we've talked about, are the trains worth the effort? I would never have known that there was a specific type of train that just wasn't working for me. I enjoyed the train. I like the people who run the train. I made money on the train. Sunshine Vintage Style, you are getting that bath bomb. Congratulations. I seemingly made money because there were a lot of sales. But when I checked the analytics, it wasn't something that was profitable for me for a long term. So why continue to do something if you're just at the end of the day really in the red taking a loss, right? Just hopped on. Is this episode streamed to? It is streamed to YouTube. You guys, if you're interested, you can always go there and see it for free. You do not need to buy anything. Everything we do is on YouTube. Trains are great for exposure. Exactly. If you're new, great idea. But yes, choose wisely. The other thing, because I don't want to get too far off topic, but on trains, especially when you're new, be careful. And this comes from my own mistakes that I've made. Be careful on the trains you join. Make sure they match with your business goals and your products that you sell. You don't want to go and source and spend a bunch of money for a train if it's not items that you typically would sell, because if they don't all sell on that train, then you have these items and you're like, I don't normally sell this stuff. Now what do I do with it, right? I mean, you can mix them into your shows, but I did that a lot. I was so eager to get on trains that I got on an animal train and I bought all this animal stuff. And then like, it took me months to like sell it off. So just kind of make sure it fits within your goals and what you sell. Yeah, I don't source specifically for trains. And I don't say I don't source specifically, but if it's something I already sell and I'm outsourcing, I'm like, oh, this would be great for the train. Okay, let's see. So when you're looking at your live stream data, So your train comes in on your show and buys, and you go to other shows and then buy and sell it back to on your own show. Sell them? No. They're just shows. They're just sellers who have a bunch of shows that are organized and all lined up together. All right. On your live stream tab, some of the other stuff you can do. So we're gathering information by month. Once you have a whole month of data, you can start comparing it month over month. How did June do compared to July? How did August do compared to June and July? How did August this year do compared to August last year? This is where you start seeing larger trends. You may be surprised to find that summer slowdown that everybody talks about really isn't a summer slowdown. But once you start looking at the trends, and you'll see this, if you really dig into your analytics and the ones that are important to you, and you measure them month over month, and you go from January to December, you'll probably see a little bit of a wave going on. You know, some are a little bit slower, some are a little bit higher. Then you can start asking yourself questions like, why were those months slower? Go back and look. Did you stream less time? Did you do less lives? That could be a very simple answer. It may have nothing at all to do with June and July or August. What it could have to do with is it was summer, the kids were home, I was busy, I was on vacation, and I did less shows. That's why my money's down. Has nothing at all to do with the summer slowdown, possibly. But this is what those numbers can tell you. So you can see when your months are the highest, and you can say, November and December were my best sales. Why? What was I doing in that month, in those months? What was I selling? Where was I selling? All of those questions we went through before. Okay, well, if that's what's happening in these high months, could I apply that to the low months? So you can start digging into why you have highs or lows and changing it if you need to change it. But you can't do that unless you're really starting to look and gather that information on a small scale, and then you expand and expand. And over a period of time, that's why I said before, this is a long game. This isn't a quick, easy fix. This is a long game, but it's going to dramatically change the way you look at your business and how you make educated decisions to improve whatever that metric is that you're trying to improve. And we all have different goals. So somebody may be wanting more sales while the other person wants more, more people in the room. It could be totally different things. Good morning, CG. Good morning, Peppa. So you start to gather that information month over month, and that's where you really get some really good trending. And you're looking at what you did different. So then also you can start using it to plan. What do you do? See sales more overall, streaming or live, and what's the difference in what's happened on live versus stream? Chrislyn, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. To me, live and streaming is the same. Can you try to clarify that question a little bit, and I'll see if I can understand to answer it. So here's how you take that information to plan with. You look at when you have a year's worth of trends of information. This is where the months that we're doing the best are. These are the months where I made enough profit to sustain. I did what I needed to do in these months. Maybe they weren't my best, but they weren't my worst. I'm going to look at the months that made me enough money to be sustainable. Because remember, I said not every business is in a growth phase. Businesses go through phases just like people go through phases. I may be in a sustaining phase. I am currently in a sustaining phase. I'm not in a growth phase for right now. So maybe you want to look at what you've done and say, okay, if I just need to sustain, I just need to stay consistent and good and make X dollars because I can't do anything else right now due to whatever else is happening in my life. What was I doing when I was making enough of that? Let me look back at my month over month analytics and say, okay, I was running 2 shows a week, and at 2 shows a week, I was having this much in sales, and I was selling this product. And by doing that, I was able to make enough to pay the bills that are necessary for my business. That's what I need to focus on for the next couple of months. Okay. Thank you so much, Sunshine Vintage Style. I appreciate that. That's a huge compliment. When you check the metrics between live and stream, are they different settings? So it's the metrics you have when you go to your analytics tab. You have overall, which gives you by like a date range. Then you have live stream tab, which gives you by each show, each live stream you do. They're, for the most part, the exact same metrics. They're just based off of different timing, either a period of time or a point in time, the point in time being your show. Oh, okay. So you're looking at when you made the most. So if your goal is to, I need to maximize this, I need to grow, I need to make the most profit. So look back at your last 12 months. When were you doing that? What were you doing when that was happening? Try to apply those same theories now. All right, let's talk about another thing. So kind of moving on from that. So let's talk about giveaways just for a second on how to mention some of the monetary, if there's some reward or some benefit in your giveaways. We talked about, whether you're doing them. I do giveaways mainly for marketing purposes during my chat shows. It gives me a chance to reach out to new people, to give them a coupon, to help encourage new buyers come to my shows. One of my metrics is increasing my new buyers. This is one of the ways that I'm addressing that goal, right? But if you're doing giveaways, you do giveaways for whatever reason. One of the things you want to know about a giveaway is it is a business expense. A lot of people, especially new people, come on to Whatnot. They see all these people doing giveaways and they see the really, really, really big people doing like iPads and whatever it may be. And you're like, oh, I've got to do giveaways. I see it so often. I know we all do that. New people come on and they're doing these giveaways. And I'm like, I sit here, with the money focus, and I'm like, you are brand new. Are you even making enough money to be doing giveaways at this point? Like, they are a business expense. They cost you money. If you're doing a giveaway, I encourage you to go to your live stream analytic tab. There is a giveaway spend. They will tell you how much you spent in that giveaway. That is just the shipping. You then need to add on whatever that product cost you. What was the cost of goods for that product? I'm doing a lot of postcards. Speaking of, let's start another one. And we can use this as a perfect example. So I'm doing this one. You're going to get two antique. These are early 1900 postcards. They're really cool. They're stamped and everything on the back. That's the giveaway. So I know how much those postcards cost me. This giveaway is going to cost me about 73 cents to mail. And I know how much that cost me. Okay. So I'm going to take the giveaway spend that Whatnot tells me, which is the shipping, and I'm going to add in my cost of goods. Okay. And then I'm going to divide that by my total sales. The total sales, which comes from the live stream, it's one of those analytic numbers that live stream tab will give you. That's going to give you the percent that giveaway cost you, the dollars. Right? I know my giveaways cost me, for every dollar I make, 73, probably about 80 cents on the dollar. Okay? This is going to tell you, but it'll also tell you that per dollar, but it'll tell you the full amount of the shows. If you're giving away expensive things, you may be spending 14, 15, 20% of your total revenue on giveaways. Can you afford that? Have you guys ever looked at it like that? I know you see, okay, I did 4 giveaways. Shipping was $4 a piece. That's about 16 bucks. Oh, I'll spend 16 bucks on marketing. That's nothing. Have you ever taken your total cost of that giveaway, what you paid for the giveaway and the shipping, and divided that by your total sales for just that show? You would be amazed at what that percentage is that you're spending on giveaways. I can guarantee it will be eye-opening. And then you need to start asking yourself, do I really want to be spending 20%, 15% of the revenue I'm making on giveaways? The answer may be yes, because maybe you have a long-term goal that you're working towards, and this is part of a strategic plan in that goal. But the answer may also be like, damn, I didn't realize I was spending that much. Okay? Particularly if you are new and you do not have the budget to do so. They're marketing. It's a marketing expense. So I really encourage you guys to look at that. So one other thing that live stream tab is going to show you on the analytics, which I find super helpful because I am one that will list things in my bin and also sell auction style, is it will break down your sales on your marketplace versus your live stream. I really like this. What if one of your goals is to encourage more sales in your bin while you're live streaming? How do you know if that's happening? This is an easy way to see if my marketplace sales are increasing. One of my goals, and a lot of stuff I'm just really transparent with, one of my goals is when I am doing chat shows, not just me, anybody who does a chat show, it's not normally a revenue producing thing. We are giving of our time to come and do this. It's a follower thing. It's a recognition, not recognition, but like an awareness thing, getting your name out there. So there's some purposes in that. But one of my goals is to also increase some of my marketplace sales or my bin sales during my chat shows to have a little bit of a financial offset during my chat shows. How do I do that? I started adding things into my bin that are relevant to the chat shows or that are seasonal or that are quick, easy picks that people can flip through while they're listening to the chat show. So looking at, and then how do I monitor if that's successful? I go to my analytics and see if my marketplace sales are growing during those shows. And then, oh yes, and you're adding on your giveaways the 15% you give to Whatnot. And it's not just, I'm not saying giveaways are bad, but it's looking at all the numbers, looking at everything. Again, I'm going back to what I have said 10 times throughout this show. You cannot go based on feeling. I cannot do a show and do giveaways and say, oh, I kept seeing my numbers go up, so my giveaways work. My giveaways are worth it. No, like that's a feeling. That's my personal bias. That's my perspective. You want to remove feelings, bias, perspective, other people's thoughts and opinions, and get down to the numbers. The numbers are the whole hard, cold truth. They do not lie. They will. Sometimes it hurts to look at them. It hurts me to look at my own numbers sometimes. I'm a CPA and sometimes I look at my numbers and I'm like, what the hell, Tracy? You know better than this. What are you doing? Because it's eye-opening. And other times I look at it and I'm like, way to go, girl. You're killing it. Because they tell the truth. I don't know how to measure it analytically, but at least for me, people who do community shows I enjoy, I come back to their other shows. Correct. So a way to look at it analytically is if you're doing a community show, is your follower counts increasing? And then after your follower counts, are your buyers, new buyers starting to increase? So you can start looking at that. Or are my followers increasing? And is my max concurrent viewers in my subsequent shows increasing? Miss Christus and that, you got that. What was that one? That was the antique postcards. Congratulations. Thanks for being here. So absolutely, there's a way to measure everything. You just kind of think through, what is the effect? Why am I doing this? What effect do I want it to have? When I do this, besides educational, I can't monitor if you're learning something. I just hope you are. That's more empirical data of comments in the chat. And I'm like, hey, that's great. I think people are taking something away from this. But I can look and see on my following shows, has my max concurrent viewers increased? Am I bringing people over? I might not know 100% that it's the same people, but if they're increasing and I'm doing something right, and then I stop my chat shows and those numbers stay consistent or drop, that's a good indicator. That's something I can pull from that and say, there's probably a correlation there. Does Whatnot charge a percentage of the sale on the shipping as well? Yes, they do. The 2.3, is it the 2.3 or the 2.9? The smaller amount is on the shipping as well and tax. If you're interested in learning more about the Whatnot 2.9, thank you, Southern Charm. You would think I would know it because I was just going to say on my YouTube channel, I did a whole thing breaking down with examples and everything on all Whatnot fees. So there is a little video. It's only like 5 or 10 minutes. But it really dives into breaking down, giving you different examples on how the fees work on Whatnot. Okay, so kind of to sum this up, because I'm getting towards the end of it. This is my YouTube. It is the same name. And you can always go back. Everything is streamed there. So you do not have to buy something in the show. Well, I would love that you buy something. There is absolutely no requirement to do so. You can go there and watch it. The power comes in, KPIs, again, key performance indicators are your metrics that you look at, are great for one show. I use them for one show. But the power, the knowledge that this brings you comes in over time. So, and I can't stress enough the amount, thank you so much, Double Charmed, I appreciate that. I can't stress enough that the amount of information you can pull from your analytics, you'll be surprised if you really start focusing. And if you're just starting, maybe you're a longtime seller and you're just like, the numbers confuse me, I don't want to look at them. Pick one thing. What's one goal that you have? Start with your goal. What is one goal that you have? So let's just say I want to increase the number of buyers in my room. Okay, so that's your goal. How are you going to measure that? There is a buyer count. There's an analytic that says buyer count, right? Okay, so that's the one metric you're going to focus on. Now, you've got the goal and you've got how you're going to measure it. Because remember, goals have to be measurable, right? This is how you measure them if they're working. So now you got the measurement. Now you figure out how you're going to achieve that goal. What tools and whatnot are you going to use to increase your buyers? Are you going to use coupons? Are you going to change your shipping? And maybe you don't throw all these changes at once, but you say, okay, you know what? Over the next 3 months, I want to see my buyer count is this right now per show. I average 10 buyers per show. I want to average 20 buyers per show at the end of this quarter. How am I going to do that? Okay, well, I'm going to give a coupon to everybody who buys, and I'm going to set up rewards. So maybe you do that for a month. See if it changes your buyer count. You see that number creeping up. You're like, that's working. Maybe I'm just going to stick with that and see where that gets me in 3 months. Or maybe, you know, that's working, but I think I could do a little bit more. Maybe I'm going to offer reduced shipping. And then go back and do that for a few shows and see. And you can start isolating. And maybe you could say, I'm going to do reduced shipping, but I'm going to pull back on this coupon and see if my buyer count still increases. And then that starts telling you, wow, maybe it's not the coupon they like, it's the reduced shipping they like. So start small. Find your goal, whatever one, just pick one goal to start with. Figure out how to measure it based on these metrics, and then figure out what are those actions you're going to take and give it a time period. So this wasn't supposed to be a whole talk about goals, but I mean, it all just kind of fits together. And that is like all of my metrics right there. That's my whole metrics talk. I hope you guys found that useful. I'm still going to be on for a little bit. If you guys have questions, please feel free to ask. I did want to mention verified buyers. This is something we don't talk about a lot, and it's not something that's in your metrics. You're so welcome. It's not something that's in the metrics, but it will affect. It is something that you could look at that will directly affect specific metrics. I'm not going to say if it's good or bad. I do not use it, but make sure you understand what it is before you use it. Are you referring to a physical? Oh, thank you for reminding me, Southern Charm. You guys, if you're buying the PDFs, thank you. Number one, thank you very much. Make sure you're DMing me your email address. That way I can just pop it right off to you. If not, I'll have to email you and ask for it, and then there's some back and forth. Are you referring to a physical coupon or the digital coupon available in the system or the rewards? All of it, actually. Al Henry Live, actually all of it. So the digital coupons, so the coupons you create and whatnot could be physical or digital. So you create a code, right, that you ultimately the customer puts into their wallet. You can disperse that by putting it in your show notes, by sending it in a message. You can also print that code or write that code onto a little postcard or a sticker that you put in packages. So now you have a physical thing you're sending, but it's still the same code. And the rewards program. The rewards program, well, based on coupons, is as the reward. There's also additional rewards you can use. I look at them as two separate things strategically. I have a reward set up and I use that strategically. Mainly for me is to drive multiple purchases within one show. And the coupons I use for me, coupons are to encourage return buyers, encourage people who have bought from me once to come back, and to encourage people who have never bought from me to give me a try, is how I strategically use my coupons. But going real quick back to verified buyers, understand what that means. That means if that buyer has never bought from you before, Whatnot may put a hold of, like, I think it's $10 onto their card on file before they purchase from you. That could be a deterrent. That can also, though, I have heard the other side of this is people are like, yeah, it really helps weed out those people who aren't serious. It weeds out cancellations. It makes sure people are serious about buying. But if you have verified buyers turned on and one of your goals is to increase new buyers, you may be shooting yourself in the foot and not even realizing that you're shooting yourself in the foot. So when you focus in on a metric and you start figuring out how you want to increase or change that metric, make sure you're looking at everything that affects that metric. So such as verified buyers is one of those things that we are likely just to not, like we forget about that we even turned it on, and it could be affecting those metrics. And it's not visible. So when you're looking at that metrics, it's not something that's in your face and visible. So just whatever metric you pick that you're focused on, try to think what else could be affecting this. And that was just one that came to my mind right off the bat. Are they able to use that coupon every show though, or is it just a one-time coupon? And how would you set that up? So when you set up a coupon, we'll talk coupons really quick because it is my personal opinion that coupons are the most underrated tool on Whatnot. They are fantastic. I'll give my little speech again. Coca-Cola started using coupons in the late 1800s, and every other retail establishment has followed suit since then. If coupons sucked, if they didn't work, we still wouldn't have them in 2025. So that's how long they've been around. They're coupons. The behavior, the psychology behind them has been proven to work. So why aren't we taking advantage of it, right? So when you set up a coupon, you can set up a coupon to be for a specific show or for all shows, or you can pick certain shows. And then buyers can use that coupon one time, and that's it. So you can put a coupon code out there, and buyer will come into your show. They use it once, that's it. They can't use it again. Other buyers can use it. You can deactivate a coupon at any time you want to deactivate it. If you want to create a coupon for just one person, you create a code, you give that code just to that person, and then deactivate it after the time frame that they should have used it. Now, they can share it, and everybody says this. Everybody's like, you can't do it for one person. They can share it. Think about what we're saying here. Oh my God, you're going to share my coupon code and somebody might buy from me and use my code? Terrible. Don't let that happen, right? Please go. If you got one of my coupons, feel free to share it. Share it with all your friends. They can all come get 20% off a product. I'm okay with that. So you're saying that verified buyers means they have bought from you before? Please talk more about that. I'm trying to see if I can pull up verified buyers. It's been a while since I wrote down all the specifications. But Whatnot says on verified buyers that they're verified. So if it's their first time purchasing from you, Whatnot may put a hold of up to $10 on their credit card in addition to the item they're buying from you. Now they get the money back. Whatnot will refund it, but it's like a security deposit, showing that they're really in it to win it, right? They're real, they're legit, they want to buy stuff, and that their credit card isn't fake, their credit card works. So it's kind of like a security measure. A lot of that will defer some of the trolls that are just like trying to bid things up, and people that aren't serious, the consistent cancellation people, that kind of deters them. But it can also deter good buyers. If somebody coming into your room that's serious, but their first time to you, I'll tell you what, if you have verified buyers on and Whatnot wants to charge me an extra $10 so I can buy your product, I'm probably not going to buy it. That's just me. I'm not going to do it. Like, I don't know. It goes back to my concept of removing barriers to buying. To me, that adds a barrier to your buyer. Why would you add a barrier? Now, I have not had a real problem with a lot of cancellation and trolls, neither. If you have, you may have a very different perspective on that. JCPenney tried taking their coupon away and it drastically hurt them and they brought it back. See, there you go. There's proof right there. Let's see. How can I open the 22 Whatnot tools file? I may be doing it wrong. Baby Nutri, just send me a message and I will send you a PDF. You can't open it from there. I have to email it to you, but that is free. So I do have 22 Whatnot tools. It is a free resource. And I do not charge for that one specifically because 98% of that information is pulled from Whatnot and you have access to that information for free. So I don't feel right about charging you for it. I've just compiled it and added some of my thoughts to it. You can get, let's see. Okay, coupon shared, would be so pleased with that tool. Let's see. It turns out if some buyers, because they don't want to pay the extra $10 when they're trying to get a deal. Yes, it does turn out. That's just it. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying look how it's affecting you. Make sure that the outcome that you're trying to get from using that is really the outcome you're getting. Can we just let them buy after they give credit card details to Whatnot? Yeah, you don't have to verify. I never turn on verified buyers. That's not a feature that I feel is beneficial to my business. I created a coupon and wanted it to be available to every following show. It was not in my next show. It's available in your show. That coupon code can be used in your show, but you have to put it in your show notes. You have to tell people about it. I don't even have show notes. I usually have a new buyer's one in my show notes. You've got to sell them. People don't just automatically know there's coupons. Even the rewards program up here. while it's been out for almost a year now, you still have to remind people. You'll frequently hear me in my shows, my selling shows, when I'm seeing people getting the rewards. Hey, go up and get your reward coupons. Don't forget to use them. Same thing with coupons. I'll tell you what, I put coupons, the first time you buy from me, and if you buy 3 or more products, you will get a coupon in your box. Those are probably the least used coupons that I offer. People don't look. Just human nature. They grab all the packing list and they throw it away with the packing material and they don't use them. Now, there's certain people who've come to know. They're like, ooh, I know Tracy's going to send me this. I'm going to make sure I go put this in my wallet. However, when I put a coupon in my show notes, that's utilized a lot because it's easy, because the user can just click on it and it pops straight into their wallet. So that's another thing to think about when you're setting up coupons, is how easy is it for that person to use. Southern Charm says, I can see using verified buyers if you sell high-end items. Yeah, so that makes sense. You don't want these cancellations in the sales if you're selling, $75, $100, $200, whatever items, versus a cancellation on a $5, $10, $15 sale isn't as bad. Southern Charm says she forgets to use them. But y'all, I wasn't planning on talking about coupons, but absolutely underutilized. People just don't. And they don't use the rewards. I like the rewards. I don't know if the full value is there. I'm still evaluating rewards. So I received a coupon from you. Thanks. Do I put it in my wallet for use? Yes, you do. So Sunshine Vintage, you take that code that's on that coupon and you put it into your wallet. It'll be applied to your next purchase. So as a buyer, you can strategically use your coupons too. I see this in my shows a lot, and I think it's wonderful. The minute you apply that code in your wallet, that % off or dollar off is going to apply to the next item you purchase. So the next winning auction or the next thing you buy in their bin during a show, that coupon's going to apply to. So you don't want to put it in your wallet or apply it in your wallet until right before the item that you want to purchase. So what I see happen in my shows frequently is the beginning of the show, there'll be some sales, maybe some of the lower priced items, and then they'll get rewards. Somebody will earn a reward coupon, and then I'll hear, hey, can you rerun that item? And I'll rerun it, and they apply the coupon to the item that they wanted from the beginning of the show that may be a little more expensive. I'm totally okay with that, because you know what? Win-win. You got the item you wanted, you got a discount on it, and I just made a sale. So I see that frequently in my shows. But shouldn't there be notes in the wallet that shows that it's available, not applied to the wallet, but noted as? I think so in the top. Now, I'm great about as a seller with coupons. As a buyer, maybe I just don't buy enough. Maybe they're just underused. I don't see a lot of coupons coming to me. Now, I do use the rewards ones. When they put a coupon in their wallet, also, as a buyer, it's going to scroll on the bottom of the screen. Just like the shipping, like it'll say like free shipping, 5% off coupon in your wallet. I forget the exact verbiage, but it also scrolls along the bottom of their screen, which is a great reminder. It's a really cool thing that Whatnot did. I wish we could load all our coupons and choose. Yes, Crystal, I 100% agree with you. I also wish, Whatnot, if you are listening, please allow us to do like BOGO coupons or a specific coupon if you buy 2 or more items. Like, I want coupons that are a little more flexible than what we have. Can you end up with zero profit if multiple coupons? They're only allowed to use 1 coupon per item and only use that coupon 1 time. If you're ending up with zero profit, your coupon percentages or dollar off are probably too high. However, I will do times that I've screwed up an order. Doesn't happen a lot, y'all, but hey, we're human. We all make mistakes. And I've given a coupon like, hey, I'm so sorry, here's $10 off any future purchase. If they buy a $10 item, yeah, I don't make a profit on that, but it's also good customer service. Does it go in the promo code space? I think it goes in the promo code space. I just know when you go into your wallet, let's see. I don't know if I don't have a wallet on my own show here. Let me look. No, I don't have a wallet to look at on my own show, so I couldn't tell you right off the bat. But I would think so. There's a box where it says like code that you can put it in. Also, let me do my notes. Let's see if they're the right notes. Let's see what my show notes are. Nope, it didn't show up. Okay, it's been a while since I put the notes in there. Oh, there we go. Okay. I just put my welcome coupon. If you have never bought from me, you can go into my show notes and you should be able to just click. So this is only good for first time purchase from me ever. You should be able to click on that welcome in my show notes and that coupon should automatically pop into your wallet. That's how that works. Oh, if you have notifications turned on, I did not know that. That's a good thing. I've just learned something. I don't have a lot of notifications turned on. My phone would be going off all day long. Oh, promo code. Thank you, secondhand. So it goes in the promo. Can new Whatnot customer use the $15 combined with a coupon? Good question, Hills Homestead. I do not know, but why would you want to do that? You've got $15 of free money. I mean, I guess, unless, I don't know if the $15, it's been so long since I've had my $15. Is it a use it or lose it? Like if you buy a $10 item, is that it? Because that's how coupons work. So I don't know how the 15, like if you have $15 of that promo, and you buy a $10 item, do you still have $5 left, or is it just gone? Because with coupons, if you have a $10 off coupon and you buy a $3 item, you've just lost the other $7. This is why I'm saying make sure you use them strategically. I do % off coupons. This is another thing that I found very interesting. And this was eye-opening to me. I have not changed what I'm doing yet, but this was eye-opening. A few shows ago, I asked, do you like % off coupons or do you like dollar off coupons? And overwhelmingly, everybody in the chat on that day, not everybody, but overwhelmingly the response was they all like dollar off coupons because nobody liked to math in their head. Nobody liked to figure out the percentage. But if you think about it, a % off coupon gives you a bigger discount. You may have to do some math in your head, but your % off. Because if I give you a $2 off coupon, that's 20% off $10. It's 10% off $20. What is it? 5% off 40? I don't know all that math. But the value of that coupon kind of decreases as it goes up. It's still $2. But if I give you a 20% off coupon, it's $2 off of 10, $4 off of 20, $6 off of 30. You're getting an increased, like the percentage increases with the price on your discount. So % off give you better discounts. You get to use all $15 of the purchase is less than 15 balances. Okay, so they do get to keep it. It's not like coupons. It's not a use it or lose it. Like, okay. It is there until you use it for new users. So, I mean, I guess you could use it, but it's free money. Like to me, I would just use that and then I would save my coupons for when I'm actually spending my dollars. Southern Charm, but Southern Charm, you're analytical too. I find that people who are more on the analytical side like % off versus more other people who are not so like number driven like the dollars off. Whatnot credit is more like a payment method. Okay. All right, y'all, we're getting close. I do have a 9 to 5 that I've got to get to. I normally only do this till about 9 o'clock. Let's see, I have one last giving. Look, I did all 10 today. This is the first time ever I think I've done all 10. This one, oh, another Halloween postcard, and there's probably some inspirational messages or something in here too. And this is number 10. All right, that is up and going. So we'll do this. We'll talk for another 4 minutes. A couple of things coming up. Can you use coupons on buy now? You can during a show, but you cannot use them in the marketplace yet. So they're not available in the marketplace, but during a show, your coupons will still apply. So tomorrow night, 4 o'clock tomorrow, I am doing a reverse auction. Those of you who have never seen a reverse auction, it's an auction, but we go down instead of up. So instead of starting at a low starting price and let everybody bid it up, we start at a high price and we bring it down. Whatnot isn't technically set up for reverse auctions. It's kind of clunky. I've done one reverse auction before and I didn't like all the button pushing that I had to do. So tomorrow we're going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to explain it now, but I'll have it in my show notes tomorrow if you're interested. Everything behind me is going to be, everything except for one item, which I'll talk about, is going to be in my reverse auction. I'm going to start at a price and it's going to be somewhat like a claim show. I'm going to say, for example, and I don't know if this is a price I have, but I have this paperweight. You're going to tell me in the chat the price you want me to start it at. I'm going to start calling out numbers. When I get to the number that you want to buy this for, put an R in the chat. So I'll say, okay, I'll run this for $12. Okay, nobody wants it for $12. $10, $8, $6. And when I get to the price that you were like, oh, I'll pay $8, put an R in there. I run the auction for whatever that price is. Anybody, at that point, it's open for anybody to bid. But there's a floor. There's a limit that I will not go to, that I won't go below, because you know what? This is a business, right? You don't know what that floor is. And when I reach it, I'm going to be like, all right, this one's off the block. Not to come back. Thank you very much. So you get a chance where I'm going down, 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 down. But you don't know when I'm going to stop. There's going to be a stopping point. That's the beauty of a reverse auction. So I think it's going to be kind of fun. We're going to do that for these items behind me tomorrow. Yes, FOMO. It also reduces all the clicking on, like I just run one auction at whatever price we decide. So come see me tomorrow. We're going to do that. And I source like for about 6 weeks for the reverse auction. This time was a bit longer, but they're usually the higher end items. Otherwise, I do dollar starts on my shows. These are items that I'm just not comfortable doing dollar starts. So we're trying to kind of make it fun, doing it a different way. That's on Saturday. On Sunday, you guys, the Vintage Kitchen Raid Train. This is hosted by Gracie's Mom, 86, D-Volk, 63, Seaside Finds, and Hot to Trot. I cannot wait. I have never done a Vintage Kitchen Raid Train. I have some Pyrex. I don't know if it's really cool Pyrex. It's cool to me, but I don't know much about Pyrex. And I've got a bunch of cool vintage kitchen stuff that I'm going to put in there. So that'll be fun. That's at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. Then at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, I have Battle of the Best. This is a CG Boomerang sponsored or conducted. I know you sold some cool Pyrex Southern Charm. I don't think mine's that cool. But Battle of the Best is always hosted by CG Boomerang Echo. Sometimes she will also have co-host with her. And this is a monthly show. The goal is to have one item. You start at $1. I have not posted mine. I have to do it before her preview show tonight. So I got to get on that today sometime. And you try to be the one who makes the most money. I have kind of a cool item, and it has a surprise. I'm not going to tell you the surprise. I'll show you my item. But I have this really cool Amethyst Blinko. This is my Battle of the Best item. And I have some other items I will auction. And this item has an amazing surprise that you will see if you attend the show tomorrow. So that is my battle item. It will be posted later on today. And then we have tomorrow, or Sunday at 7, an ephemera show. I have been slowly getting into ephemera. It complements what I do in vintage decor, and it's easy to ship and easy to store, which I really like because I can't add complication to my life right now. So it is one of my growth strategies. And this week I have 1930s. I have a whole art portfolio from an artist from the 1930s, tons of sketches and art that's just really cool. It's all unframed, so it's easy to ship. But if you're into that stuff, come see me on Sunday night. And then Tuesday, and this will be the last thing before we go, Tuesday is another CG Boomerang Battle show. It is Battle of the Cameos. I was not going to enter this one until I was in an antique store one day and I saw a cameo set. I have a vintage vanity cameo set that I'll be auctioning off that day. And once I saw that, I went quickly and looked up and said, oh, is there any more spaces? I want to be on the cameo show. Catches by Kathy, you got our last giveaway today. It is a Halloween postcard. Thanks for being here. So that is Tuesday night, is Battle of the Cameo. It's all day long. I'm going to be on it at night. Oh, did you finally fill it up? Oh, awesome. Great. So we're going to have a big, long list of sellers. It's going to be so cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, Out and About Vintage, but that is hosted by CG Boomerang, Echo, and Corey Mannix. So it's going to be a fun one. You know, Corey always brings a fire. So, and in these battle trains, it's so much fun. Some of them you go in to win. I just came off of Battle of the Wood. I took second in Battle of the Wood. That was the highest I've ever gotten in a battle train. I was like so ecstatic that I even got second. It was so much fun. But they're just a great experience. Even if you're not the winner, they're 10-minute slots. They're just fun. Thank you so much. I thought that was a pretty cool item. And I have never placed that high. So to me, that was just like amazing. So y'all come check that out. We're going to go find somebody to raid. And I hope to see you in some upcoming shows soon. Thank you so much, Cynthia Zedek. You guys have a really good weekend, and we'll talk soon. Let's go. I'm going to do my exit here while I find somebody to raid. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. All right. My buttons aren't working. There we go.
Honey, what are you doing?
Nothing.